reflecting on being a Jewish dance therapist is an interesting issue for me because I grew up in a small Midwestern town, the gateway to the Ozarks, where there were very few Jewish people. What I absorbed had to do with being a part of a larger unit. To me, it was not only the people in my community in Joplin, Missouri, but more so, it was the other Jewish families who lived both in town and out of town in Oklahoma or Arkansas or Kansas, and would come in for the holidays. So I was used to having that kind of atmosphere to connect with. I've always known I am Jewish. My Jewishness, though, is not so much religion as connection and being a part of a movement. And so that's what has been important to me. And I think that's what has carried over into dance therapy for me. When I heard about this profession called dance therapy, actually, it wasn't even a profession. I was in college and I went to, for the summer, I went to Perry Mansfield and heard other people talking about dance therapy. And I said, well, that's what I'm going to do. The only book that was written was the one by Libby Rosen. So I came home, and my mother, who was also very educationally minded, very political, very out in the world, feeling what was important was that I not be stuck in small town Joplin, but that I be able to develop. And so we found dance movement therapy actually from an article in the Kansas City Star about Sue Ellen Freed, a young Jewish mother at that time who is still dancing in her 90s now. And we connected. She took me with her to Osawatomie State Hospital. And then I took her with me emotionally when I went to study with Marion Chase in Washington that fall. I don't think anybody in Marion Chase's office was Jewish, but there were people that visited. Meanwhile, I was just absorbing whatever I could. I was 22. I really didn't know what was going on here, except I was kind of following a path. Consciously, I was not aware of the path, but unconsciously, I just went with whatever I seemed to need to do and wherever I seemed to need to go. I think that may be part of what I inherited through my culture as a Jewish person. I met Sharon Chaiklin. I met Claire Schmays there. They both had long ponytails, and I would see them coming and going. And I met in a meeting where we discussed forming an organization. I met Beth Kalish, who had come in from Philadelphia, and I met lots of other people too. But I think what I want to share about being a Jewish dance therapist is that it was the cultural element that drew me to taking the risk as a very shy little girl from Joplin, Missouri, taking the risk to open up to all these amazing people, mostly women, who had danced. Some of them had danced professionally. And I mean, I'd gone to Marianne Hatley's dance studio. What did I know? So I felt kind of inadequate, but they became my role models. And so when I went back then to Pittsburgh, after I got a job in Pittsburgh, I was the first dance therapist in Western Pennsylvania. And then later, I was the first dance therapist in Florida. And I somehow got the courage to take the risk to become whomever I am today and to keep on working at that. And I do believe that that came from the cultural element of being Jewish, and that I had been brought up as. In my hometown, we had a temple, not a synagogue. It was not called a synagogue. And I couldn't tell you anything more about the Jewish words I didn't know and never have. But I do feel like I belong here with you and with everyone else.